Welcome to Friday Fish Facts. I'm your host, Ron DeSantis. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite tanks, and that's the 40-gallon breeder. That's your 3 feet wide, 18 inches deep, and just under 17 inches tall. Now the fish that we're going to pick today are not fish that you're going to have to put in and then move out at a later date. These are fish that can live their entire life in that 40 breeder.
Before we get into this list, I will let you know that I just have 2 40 breeders and they're both on the list.
So number 5 on our list, we've got Rainbowfish.
Depending on the species of rainbowfish, you can keep them in a 40-gallon breeder. The ideal species of rainbowfish is the Praecox rainbow or dwarf rainbow, which I currently don't own. There are lots of different species, but typically the temperature should be between 76 and 82 and your pH between 6.5 and 7.5. They can live with a wide variety of tank mates. If you want to breed them, the easiest way is to put a spawning mop in their tank. Then you can collect the eggs and move them to another tank. Grow those eggs out there, whether that's a 40 breeder or something a little bit smaller. When they're first born, they are super tiny. You can't even feed them baby brine shrimp. You're going to have to feed them something like golden pearl.
Number 4 on the list, we've got Angelfish.
When they're smaller, you can keep 4 or 5 angelfish in a 40 breeder, but most likely they're going to pair off and become aggressive, and you're going to have to just keep that one pair in the 40 breeder. A little bit on the warmer side, you're going to want to go 78 to 84, and your pH between 6.8 and 7.8.
Number 3 on the list, we've got Lake Tanganyika Shelldwellers setup.
I've got Neolamprologus multifasciitis, or multis, in this 29-gallon. A 20-gallon is more than enough room for these shell dwellers, but if I want to add another species from Lake Tanganyika, like a group of Juliochromis or a few Brichardi, then I'm going to want to move it to a 40-gallon breeder. The temperature of 75 to 81 degrees and a pH of 7.5 to 9. These happen to be the world's smallest cichlids.
Number 2 on the list, we've got Dwarf Mbuna. I'm going to pick specifically Pseudotropheus selosii.
These are a Dwarf Mbuna from Lake Malawi, and they happen to be my favorite African cichlids. I love them most because the males are that blue and the females and the subdominants and juveniles are all yellow. So you get 2 colors, 1 species, all in the same tank. They're a mouth-brooding cichlid, so you will need to take the female out if she's carrying or take the fry out, otherwise they're going to get eaten.
My number 1 on the list, well, it's called a 40-gallon breeder. I'm going to say it's the community breeding tank, number 1.
Whether you want to try breeding for profit, breeding to cover the cost of the hobby, or just breeding for fun, all of these can be tried in this 40-gallon breeder. You can do any live bearer, but I would suggest a guppy. A specific strain will bring you the most amount of profit. Now you can breed bristlenose plecos as well. I would suggest doing either super reds or the blue-eyed lemon, just to bring the biggest return. You can try adding some Corridoras to this setup, although in my experience they won't breed in a community setting. They like a species-only tank. So in that case I would add some shrimp, either Neocaridina shrimp like these orange ones or these cherry ones, or some of the easier Caridina ones like tangerine tigers.
What would you have liked to have seen on this list? Maybe comment below, see what I missed out. Hit that like button if you like that video, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. Join me next week for another edition of Friday Fish Facts.